Good afternoon. It's nice to have you here. We know you very well. We studied your books. So we were ex-students. Okay, so we're here today to ask you some questions because we know you are a very important person in the industry. So we want to ask you some questions about that and your work, what you do. Okay, so can you tell me something about yourself and what you do? What's your what do you work for?
I'm in the meetings industry since 30 years, and I've mainly three activities. So one is a company called Abbott is doing audiovisual support for meetings and events all over Europe, and the second one is the Meeting Support Institute. It's an organization that helps companies with services and tools on the content side of meetings, so developing, increasing the meeting effectiveness. Those companies and individuals we help to, get connected to potential buyers. So it's like a trade association. And then finally there is meeting architecture, which I believe is the future discipline of, of people that design meetings based on objectives and help in making meetings and events and conferences more effective. So those are the three main areas. If you want, the meeting architect is the bigger picture. It's like the discipline, doing the meeting design and all the stuff. Then you have the Meeting Support Institute, which is kind of the toolbox that the meeting architect is used. Within that toolbox, there is technology. There is all sorts of other, there's different categories of tools. Technology is one of them. And then Abbott Meeting Support is kind of, a company that helps a meeting architect with some of those tools to actually execute a more effective meeting. So in that sense, everything is connected in that way, and it's probably also, for all of these levels, good to to be involved in these things.
What do you think about technology nowadays in the events industry? Where are we going within technology now?
Well, you see and hear different things from different people. I think technology is an enabler, and I think there is a moment, I think we're close to that moment, where people will start realizing that there is an overload, and they will become, and there is a danger, I think, that people will become afraid of technology, and they will become, reluctant to use technology. Already, many people are, but I think we are going into a stage where there's so many apps and there's an app overload. There's an app for, there's several apps for everything you can imagine. So in meetings and events, it's a hard process of identifying those apps that are really important and crucial and you can really use. And it's not only just about the app. You have to have somebody that facilitates it. You have to have professional technicians that can feed in whatever you need and make sure that the Wi-Fi is good. And so it's an exciting time, and it's also a time where we, I think, as responsible people in this industry, have to be careful that we're not going too fast and not are overloading people with too many things. Because, some people need time to get used to one single app, and then if we give them 70 apps, then, some of them become overloaded. I think myself, even I would suffer sometimes from technology overload and also cognitive overload. It's just so much information out there and so many channels. I have so many inboxes and so many that I get lost, and I get almost a headache of the overload. So I think we need to be responsible. I think it's important that we, the people that are leading this industry as far as technology is concerned, are aware of that and make sure we manage it well.
So how do you see the future of events and technology, this mixture? Do you see a bright future?
I think there is a bright future. Absolutely. I think there's lots of opportunity, lots of possibilities. There's a lot of costs that can be saved. There's a lot of value that can be added. You just need to find the way of doing it, and so there may be several ways of getting there, and we will, as an industry, we will learn and we will grow into this. I think the role of the meeting architect is going to be crucial. The meeting designer, a person that knows not just technology, but knows meetings, knows the processes that happen within meetings amongst participants, how they learn from speakers, how they learn from each other, how they network, what is important in networking. I think all these things are very, very important, and I think technology for a reasonable price can do that, but it needs to be managed. It needs to be designed by someone that knows this stuff. And so that's maybe one option that we can see for the future, is that there is going to be a professional, maybe it's going to be the same person as the meeting planner, but some people say it's just going to be too much for one person to handle. So there may be specialists in the operational participant logistics, like eat, drink, sleep, travel, and all these very fundamental, important things to do that well, and another specialist that is going to be not involved in negotiating contracts with hotels, but is going to talk to the Wi-Fi people and make sure the Wi-Fi works, and is going to talk to the, the iPad supplier or the app developer and make sure that everything that the meeting owner needs on the content side of meetings is going to be developed and designed and moderated and facilitated in a decent way, and that might be part of the solution. Second part could be a company like eTouches. There are several companies like you have here, Newton Strand. They combine, and there's other companies out there. And you combine, and you can, those companies combine several services into one. And so this integration process may be a solution. It's like a out-of-the-box type of service from one company with one online system that combines, all of the things you need, and you just take one of those and you stick to the limits and the possibilities of one of those. It's an alternative potential solution.
Can you tell me something about your books? Of course, we read something about you and some parts of your books. So what's the concept of your books? What do you want to achieve when people read your books?
I think the most important book is Meeting Architecture, the Manifesto. It's describing a new discipline within the meetings and events industry. And it's laying out taxonomy, kind of a structure with categories for how a meeting architect looks at a meeting, what meeting design is about, what the toolbox is about, and those things, and what the meeting architecture process is. I think that is a fundamental piece of work. Obviously, if you look at the toolbox, inside the toolbox, there is all that stuff that you can use at meetings and events, including technology, to increase the quality of the networking, to increase the quality of the social media, etc. So another book that we recently have put on the market together with 15 authors of the chapters is on social media. So it's called The Tweeting Meeting, and that's a book that now zooms into the toolbox. So you have the meeting architect has his toolbox. In the toolbox there is a section called technology, and within the technology section there is the section social media. And that on its own is more than enough material to have a book about. So that means that somebody that reads this book will have to, or is going to be able to do a good job on the social media, looking at some of the different factors like risk and marketing and all these things that you can do with social media. So many more books are needed, I think. There is many more books that are unwritten at the moment in those specific categories. Currently, we're working on a book about science for meetings and events, and one on meeting formats for meetings and events. So I think these are specialized sections within the toolbox of the meeting architect that all need to be kind of made ready for consumption, so that a student that wants to become a meeting architect or a meeting designer can take all those books and spend the year reading them, working on them, and go to courses and training and become a meeting architect. So there is books out there. The fundamental book is written, if I can say that, and now it's up to all of us to come with those niche books and fill that toolbox.
How long have you been working in the industry?
I started my company when it was when it was 1982. I was 18 years old, and it's 30 years now.
So what's the best part of your job? Can you find?
Well, I think reasonably early on, I decided that meetings and events was for me the direction to go to. I think what is pleasant to me is the kind of people that are part of this industry, and also the variation of topics. There is a huge variation of topics of conferences. And so all these conferences are specialized in doing, medical things and other stuff. And so seeing all these different topics is very interesting on its own. And of course, all the innovation that's happening is really exciting to follow.
Of course, you're a great influencer in the industry, but do you receive feedbacks from people, or people, what do they tell you about your work, what you do, your books? What's the reaction, what you do?
I think there is several kinds of reactions, but the overall reaction would be that it is necessary to professionalize in this area. There is potentially a big market also for this. So usually you get positive results, and people want to invest in development of education, not just books, but also training and these things. So overall, I think there is a bright future for this section within the industry.
And I'm curious to ask you, which is your favorite technology? What technologies or technological products do you prefer? Do you think are the best for the industry to use?
I think it's very hard to say. There is so many things out there. Obviously, the mobile device that people have today, and the possibilities with that are endless. I think that would definitely be one of the more exciting ones. On the other hand, everything that helps participants connect to each other on site, I think is also important, and a lot of stuff is developing. So it's very hard to say there's one specific technology that is very exciting, but overall I think there's many different areas that are developing.
And besides of technology, what else do you think in events nowadays are the most important themes to discuss, to follow more in depth and to develop?
Yeah, I think one of the big innovations or changes that are happening in the industry, or at least I would hope are happening in the industry, is participant involvement. So instead of having just a speaker and people listening, how do we get them on board more? And one of the things we're doing now that's also on its own an exciting development is the Fresh Conference. In Copenhagen in January. The Fresh Conference is all about experimenting with meeting formats this year. So a big chunk of that is participant involvement, crowdsourcing. We have a professional on crowdsourcing that is coming as a speaker. We have a professional like Ibran, a professor in the University of Education in Copenhagen, who is also talking about this a lot, and how you add participation of participants, how you make them involved and make them learn from each other, is a big and important domain that is developing. The easy thing, however, is to book speakers and sell tickets and put chairs so people can just listen to the speaker. That's the easy thing. It becomes a lot more complicated. And it takes a lot more work if you want to work with the speakers on developing the session so that it becomes more participant engaging and participant involving. So again, you will see an increasing need for meeting designers, meeting architects, if truly the whole industry will embrace this participant involvement more than today. I think everybody will ultimately, because it's like, the presentation we saw yesterday here at the EIBTM Forum, the end of leadership. I wanted to ask the question to the Professor Kellerman, but didn't get the opportunity. But the question is, what is the role of meetings and events in leadership? How does a leader, usually also the meeting owner, how does a leader use meetings and events to accomplish his goals? And because she says there is power going away from the leader and power coming up from the followers, are the people in the room, are they followers? And are they getting more and more power? And how is the meeting of the future going to look like? So I think those are very interesting issues that are part of the dynamics of the industry today, and make our lives more exciting, more varied, and definitely technology, meeting design, meeting architecture will be part of that process.
Very last question. Are you enjoying the EIBTM. What do you think about these fairs in general? What do you think? Are they the good things to do for the industry? What happens here?
Absolutely. I think EIBTM is sticking out its neck and doing different links like this Future of Events experience area, which is, as I can see, very dynamic, different speakers, different things happening in different places. And so I think that is sticking out your neck and allowing some experimentation and sharing knowledge in an area that is not necessarily just connected directly to the selling of more space to exhibitors. So I think EIBTM is investing in the future of this industry, and EIBTM is definitely has its eyes on the future of the industry, and with the Future of Events, with the technology and events services area as well. I think they're doing a good job in helping some of these smaller companies with an affordable stepping stone into the industry, and allowing meeting planners and meeting owners to discover them. I think it's a wonderful concept.
Thank you very much for your help, for your interview. Thanks a lot. Hope to see you later. Okay.